Hello there. Give me a minute there, folks. Oops. I'm going to go. Let me change it here to this one. There we go. All right, here we go, everybody. There we go. Okay, everything plugged in there. Doesn't sound like it. Hold on. Okay, well, okay. Okay, sorry, just checking the mic. All right, so let's talk a little bit about this Beto O'Rourke, I guess you could say, rally. Really, it was for the voter suppression laws, Senate Bill 7 in Texas, which would limit voting more in Texas and, take away more polling places. Having to make people drive, this and that. Like I said, I think Republicans go back and forth on this. I'm not exactly sure. But I will say, let's go ahead and play these clips from none other than Beto O'Rourke, shall we? Just a moment, everybody. All right. I'm going to go ahead and give the context to these speeches. So before I start, though, he gave about a good 25-minute speech. Well, actually, no, it's more like 27-minute speech, roughly, talking about the voter suppression. And I was only able, it was too much for my phone because it was like, the file's too big. So I deleted it and I caught the tail end of the of his speech, which I'll play for you first. And then he had time for about maybe 10 questions, of which I did the second one. I obviously couldn't record myself while doing that, so I was just, basically my question was, what do you think about the coalition government in Israel? He gave kind of the pat answer, which was basically, this should hopefully be a change in Israel, this and that, for both Israelis and Palestinians, this and that. okay, I'll just like, all right, thank you. So that's good. Good enough. We continue on. But let's go ahead and get into this. This is the end of his speech. Before he came up, he was talking to some locals. Apparently, within our district, it's a fairly strong. There's a section that's very strong in terms of Democratic support, but 10,000 people aren't registered to vote. So, yeah, like I say, I could sit here and play the Republican game like, why do they need to get people to register to vote so damn easily? The Democrats are taking... No, but that's too easy. It's too easy for me to bitch and complain about, Democrats, Republicans. Both are cringe. Both of them are cringe. Both Democrats and Republicans are cringe. I just want to make sure of that. They both suck. But, yeah. So, let's get into these clips that I got. This is the tail end of his speech. He talked about a lot of different stuff. He was talking about democracy was in Greece. It disappeared for thousands of years, and then it came back in the U.S. I was like, huh? I mean, that's a matter of opinion. I mean, like I said, you could say democracy existed in the UK to a certain degree. Before that, I mean, I don't know. I mean, you could even say with Rome, I'm like I say, that's a matter of opinion. But it's just like, what are you talking about, dude? So, yeah. So let's go ahead and get into these clipperinos here. So this is the tail end of his speech here. And, oh yeah, one other thing here is that before he came up, there were a lot of Trumpers who came up and they were honking their horns and they had like Trump masks on. So they rented some limos, this and that, which is literally just down the street. The limos are. It's literally like maybe actually going into the park. It's right there pretty much. But anyway, it's on the just like maybe two or three stores down. Anywho, so they rented these and they had some folks with the Trump flags in the back and everything honking. They did that for about 20 minutes straight. So let's go ahead and watch this first clip.
Democracy in American history, beginning in 1960, that multiracial democracy fought for, so dearly won by both service members and civil rights heroes, is right now. And in the same way that President Johnson find his power, I'm asking you to join me in helping President Biden find.
Okay, let me point some things out here. So this guy in black is going to be running for local city office. This is one of Beto's helpers. This guy, I'm not sure, but I know I've seen him before. So yeah, just to say.
If we were granted an audience, as Dr. King and Ambassador Young were with the president, we were to ask him, I bet you he'd say something very similar. He'd say, I've got this Joe Manchin problem. This guy believes in the filibuster more than he believes.
Also, 90% of the audience was like boomer white folks, basically. Some of them came from Dallas because they, is closer because he's kind of going on this tour to promote, voting down this bill. I guess we'll have a chance to vote for it, but yeah, are also a district, someone that was running for a U.S. representative was there as well, and she brought her mother. I hate to say it, but it sounds like she was a political prop, like she's disabled or whatever, and this poor woman. I just feel so sorry. She was just holding up that sign the whole time. I was like, oh, this poor old woman is out there, and her daughter, of course, is a lawyer, and she's the one that's running. And I felt so bad because I'm like, that's politics for you. Politics is a dirty game.
In democracy, and that's a matter of power. I don't know what to do. My belief is
this is me switching hands, so that's why I'm moving.
The president hears from all of us, and if the calls start coming into the White House switchboard from, of all places, Wichita Falls, Texas, where maybe they last expect to hear from folks in voting rights and democracy. As they heard them in Abilene, in Midland, in Lubbock, in El Paso, and all the other cities that we will be traveling to, I think that they may take notice. And they may understand that this is a make or break opportunity for us as a country, and certainly for our government. Because if we lose what Abraham Lincoln called the last best hope of earth, we may never get it back.
I'm sorry. This is all opinion. This is all opinion. Say, oh, America has the greatest democracy. Come on, let's take it easy. You know, there's plenty of voter suppression. There's plenty of intimidation, and he admits this, talking to other people, talking about the Ku Klux Klan, this and that. You know, stopping folks and everything. So, I don't know. Maybe I'm too much of a YouTube commentator, you know, to be swayed by this, but this is mostly boomers who are, this is the Democratic Party. So, yeah.
Is so exceptional. Maybe we lose it once again. That is the challenge, and that is the charge. And this is what I think we can do together. If you have not already signed or signed up with us, there's some clipboards that are circulating. Please do. I want to get in touch with you, and I want to share the direct number to the White House so they can hear from you. I will share with you over the course of the coming months and the next special session how to get in touch directly with your state representative and your state senator and the governor of the state. You can tell them how you feel, and so that they feel the pressure and the power that's right here in the Lucy Park Pavilion in Wichita Falls with us today. And maybe, just maybe.
Yeah. I'm doxing myself. Yeah.
That changes the course of that special session. And I'm also going to ask you to do this. I'm going to ask you to get certified here in Wichita County as a volunteer deputy registrar. It's a VDR.
Super doxed. It's okay.
And what you do is go door to door in your own neighborhood. Talk to your neighbors. Introduce yourself if you never met them.
I'll never do this. I'm sorry. No, I would rather, I don't know what I'd rather do, but no. I just do not believe in you at all, Beta. No, absolutely not.
Tell them that they are going to come over for a cup of sugar if they ever need it. But you're here now to talk about politics, democracy, and voting. And by the way, you don't care if they're a Republican or a Democrat. You just want to make sure they can vote. And if they say, you know, I don't know that my vote counts, I don't even know how this thing works, I don't know how you get signed up, you tell them, the good news is I'm a VDR, and I can get you registered right here at your door. I've done that in my neighborhood, in Sunset Heights, and El Paso, and in I've gotten certified in Midland County, Love County, and Webb County on the border, in Laredo, Texas, and registered voters in those communities as well.
Yeah.
This, ladies and gentlemen, is our plan B. If we're unsuccessful in Texas, if we're unsuccessful in the U.S. Senate with the For the People Act, it is the Voting Rights Act of our day that I want President Biden to put all of his muscle behind. Then what we can do is register enough of those 7 million non-voters and get them part in the next election so that those who do not care about democracy to defend it can be replaced by those.
That's still the MAGA-peeps who are blowing those air horns and stuff. You know, like I said, if you've ever been to this particular park, it's a fairly narrow place, but they kept going around in circles and honking at them and this and that. So yeah, they trolled them for a good like 20 or 30 minutes, I would say, before the cops finally showed up and kind of pushed everyone. You know.
Are you with me on this? That's what I would like us to do. That's what I would like for us to do it together. In the spirit of democracy, I want to make sure that I bring in as many voices to the conversation as possible. And to be clear, you don't have to agree with me. You can tell me that you've got a different solution to the same problem. You can challenge me as to whether or not we have a problem at all. Or tell me if there's a more problem that you want us to.
Like I said, I've said this before him, but the thing is that he was like super duper, like a, like a, he's like original, he's like an OG 4chan guy. You know, it's like he was such an edgelord type of dude, like, what if I ran somebody over, bro? And stuff like that, right? This is the type of dude he was. It's just like, it's funny to see how, now he's, trying to be, he just, my mom said it too, is that he seems so naive to things, so naive.
Be focused on whatever it is. I want to make sure that I have the chance, and all of us have the chance. Cynthia, who is got a microphone in her hand. If you will raise yours, she'll bring that over to you. We'll have a chance to bring everyone into the conversation.
Yeah. Okay. So the next clip is they're talking to this guy. Let's see here. Yeah. Nobody's watching. That's okay. That's all right. Yeah. So let's go ahead and cover this other clip where it talks to a 3%er. You can barely see, but right in this corner, it does have 3%. But yeah, my phone can only do so much. But yeah. So let's go ahead and hear this. So he basically gives the old line of, "You said damn right you're going to take your gun." You said that back in September 2020 or something like that. So that's basically the rest of the context. So let's continue.
That's great. Since you're here, that you asked the question.
Okay, so let's go back to the very beginning.
I just want to know why. That's great. I'm so glad that you're here, that you asked the question. So you're referring to something I said on the debate stage in September 2019. The month before, in my hometown of El Paso, 23 people were murdered by a gunman who was armed with a weapon of war, an AK-47. He was able to purchase legally, by the way. It's legal to purchase that, to own it, to use it in the state of Texas. He drove from Allen, Texas, where he purchased this firearm, to El Paso, intent upon killing Hispanics. He thought there was an Hispanic invasion of the United States, and the Hispanics were gaining too much political power. And he was going to use his firearm that 3 rounds in 3 seconds, kill those 23 people in that Walmart.
Real try-hard stuff from the from the MAGA page, right? Real try-hard stuff with the whole, we're going to put on a mask, we're going to have a limousine where we drive around and honk at them, we're going to have folks with their big old trucks and whatnot. Just such try-hard shit. It's just like, come on, man. This is, not even 4chan would do shit like this. Come on. Are you serious?
On that day, I believe in your right to own a firearm. I believe in your right to own one, to defend yourself, to hunt, to collect, to use for sport. What I don't believe is in any civilian owning a weapon that was designed.
And I will say that there was another guy who came up and said that he used to be an instructor, firearms instructor. He got medals from the NRA and shit like that. He's like, I don't want to do that anymore, this and that, because I'm older. I'm in my 60s, this and that. So I take this all with a grain of salt. I mean, to a point, there's also a woman who said that she was a judge, this and that. So I almost felt like saying in my head, like, this feels like a plant. This feels like a plant. I mean, maybe that just comes from me being paranoid. But it's like, I don't know, man. I'm very cynical. I'm sorry. But yeah, let's continue.
And engineered and sold to militaries around the world for the express purpose of killing people. Because
you know that an AK-47 that a civilian use or the AR-15 a civilian can go purchase is not a weapon of war. The AR sign and stand for yes.
Yeah, no, I know the history.
Know that.
Yes, sir.
People don't.
Yes.
So I don't understand why they keep up weapons of war.
Yeah, I noticed a guy coming up just out of nowhere. It's like, dude, why do you make it so obvious? Like I said, this is the whole type of thing of a uniform. He's got like the big American flag on the back of his shirt. He's got 3% obviously on the front of his shirt. It's like, oh man, what? This is what I'm talking about, being as invisible as you can. Plain shirt, plain shorts, something like that. That's what I try to do. You don't put on stuff like that so that, like I say, I understand you want to identify with something, but it's like, man, I want to be as unnoticeable as I can. Why would you, like, I don't know. when I saw the dude come up, I'm just like, oh shit, this dude's gonna have some, he's gonna say something, and what do you know, right? What do you know?
You cannot go buy a M4, M16 that is, or that has a fire switch, the safe.
A fire switch? You mean a selector switch? Come on, Jesus wept. Come on, man. Even I know better than that. Come on, dude.
You can single fire a shot.
Mm-hmm.
You can do a 3-round burst. We can't go buy those unless you have FFL license. So why are they all called weapons of war? Because they're not.
My understanding, I'm happy to stay in touch and listen to you, learn from you. My understanding is that both the AK.
Oh please! And the boomers that were behind me were so triggered. She's like, "What are you doing? Why are you so worried?" It felt like I was in a fucking YouTube comment section. Like, this has nothing to do with voter suppression. Why the hell are you here asking this? It's just like, oh man. Once again, this kind of sounds like a plant, or it just sounds like some real boomer shit to me. But yeah, let's continue.
Variants of the original design. It was sold to, in the AR's case, the United States military for use by service members at the time in Vietnam. And in fact, it was at MSU at a town hall that a Vietnam-era veteran approached me. This was after the massacre at Marjorie Stoneman Douglas School in Florida. Mm-hmm. And he said, I carried a version of what that kid carried at that high school. He murdered all those children in Florida when I was in Vietnam. He doesn't need that. No one needs that to hunt. No one needs that for defense. You use it if you want to kill people because it is devastatingly effective. We can listen to the families in El Paso who lost loved ones. There was a gentleman, Memo Garcia, one round, went through his stomach, his spleen, his liver, his kidney, his intestine. He was on life support for months before he finally survived.
There's another gal too. I do want to mention this. That asked a question that said, that she had lost 3 family members. She has 3 American flags, this and that. And we don't want to go back to slavery. And I'm like, oh, Jesus wept. This feels so staged. It doesn't feel real. I honestly felt that, like, bro, this does not feel real.
These wounds, that high impact, high velocity round shreds you inside. It's what it was designed to do. We wanted to do that up against an enemy soldier. We want that soldier on the ground, not able to get back up, and pose any threat or harm to us. And so I think it's perfectly fine and even necessary for the battlefield to bring that into a Walmart or into a high school or into a movie theater where its rapid rate of fire and its devastating impact shows that there will be slaughter after slaughter after slaughter. 4 of the worst mass shootings in American history are in the state of Texas: El Paso, Odysee, Sutherland, Santa Fe High School.
Oh yeah, this guy had like not a water bottle, but like, a carrier, and he had the American flag, like a little American flag bandana wrapped around it.
Galveston County. We got to do something better. And let me do this, and not to put you on the spot, but in the spirit of dialogue, how do we address this gun violence and political gun violence when people are showing up to political events with AR-15s, AK-47s on the steps with those weapons, intimidating lawmakers and peaceful protesters? That can't seem right to you, can it? Isn't there some better way for us to do it?
No, taking away the most favored weapon of most gun owners that weapon.
For what?
Go
For
Shut up, boomer. Shut up. I'm laughing because I'm like, oh, jeez. I was really trying to control myself because this just felt like such a meme. I'm sorry, the internet has destroyed me. I hope my audience, or whoever the hell hears this, I hope y'all don't become as internet pilled as I have and super online, where I just feel like everything's a meme when you go outside. I'm sorry, but I do.
They're even used in hunting. They use them for hunting hogs. I said.
Golly. These boomers, huh?
I have a question for you on the subject.
Yes, sir.
How does taking the guns from law-abiding, background checked citizens going to stop that gun violence. All
Okay.
that do is take guns from good people, only bad people have them, and we can't defend ourselves.
Let's do this. Let's do this. Well, sorry, let me just make sure that I can answer the question, and then we'll keep the conversation going with others who want to jump in. You mentioned those who own an AR-15 and AK-47 for checked. What if that is a point of common ground between you and me? Because the guy who killed all those people in Midland, Odessa, didn't go to a background check. He was actually unable to buy one at a sporting goods store and was able to legally make a private purchase. Would you agree that if he got a background check, we may have stopped him before he took 7 lives in Midland, Odessa?
It's Boomer, huh? Boomer just gives right in.
And if we just agree on that much, and I know you're not advocating that we stop selling them or that we take them away from anybody, but you agree that we should have a background check on one of them?
I believe in the background check.
That's great. Victory.
This guy. Oh, this Boomer. And he's not even necessarily like a Boomer. He's probably like a Gen Xer, but he has the Boomer mindset.
All right, I want to make sure we get.
Oh man, yeah. Yo, what's going on? Yeah, political violence is a thing due to unstable situations of this nation, not due to AR-15s. Exactly. If y'all give me just a moment, and I'll kind of give up my closing thoughts, and then we'll wrap this thing up. I just wanted to cover this is kind of like my report of this Beto O'Rourke meeting that we had. Okay. All right. So the thing is with this Beto O'Rourke thing was that he basically wants to prevent voter suppression in Texas because this law would do that. The thing is that, there are, for me, I asked the question, I think I said this already, but I'll say it again. I asked him about what he thought about the coalition government in Israel, and he's like, well, it'll be a turning point in Israel, this and that. And, it'll be good for Israelis as well as Palestinians. I'm just like, oh boy, yeah. I hate Bennett so fucking much. Yeah, exactly. He's such a puss. And there are so many boomers who are like, when are you going to run for governor and trans rights or gay rights and all this? I'm like, oh my goodness. What the fuck are you motherfuckers doing? I'm just like, come on, bruh. But yeah, it went to show there were probably like, if I'm counting, they were probably like maybe, I'm trying to think it now. There was a brother who I knew there's this black dude. I've seen him before because I used to work on base. But there was him. There was like 4 or 5 black folks there, and there were maybe like 4 or 5 Latinos or Hispanics or Chicanos, whatever you want to say. There were maybe 4 or 5 of them. The rest were all boomer white folks. And there was, wait a minute. No, I take that back. There was one girl who was like 19 who went to the local college. And she's like, and what's your preferred, what's your preferred social media? And she said, of course, at being the thought that she was, I hate to sound like a MGTOW or something like that or some incel, but she's like, Snapchat. I'm just like, of course it's Snapchat. Of course it is. And of course she's like, and of course he's like, you want to come help us on Snapchat, this and that? You want to promote it? You want to be our ambassador, for the local college and stuff like that? She's like, yeah, of course. And of course everyone's, clapping and shit. I'm just like, oh man. But I heard through most of the questions, a lot of, boomers just ranting and raving, this and that. I just asked my simple question about Israel, and I said, I stood there and looked at him, and then I just kind of waved. I said, all right, thank you. And then, but I don't know. Like I say, it was just, it was funny to see these boomers, and everything else like that. Are just like, well, why do you go for governor? This and that. Oh, we like you, Beta. It's just like, oh man, ignoring, of course, the fact that he was pretty much just like I say, in my opinion, he was like a 4chan dude. He was like, before 4chan was really a thing, he was a 4chan guy. He was, edgelord type of shit where he's like, what if I ran somebody over? I know I've repeated this already, but it's like, I think it was like run somebody over on a skateboard or some shit like that. I'm just like, this guy. And of course, he marries someone whose father is a real estate magnate. It's like, even when they were talking to him in like, some public meetings where, he was speaking Spanish and whatnot, they're asking him questions and he just dodged them in all of this. I'm just like, this guy, he just felt so, he seems so awkward in some cases, So I answer, but yeah, whatever, basically. I mean, he's pushing for this. They probably promoted him because he had a decent size, a decent pull and everything like that. I still think he's a cringe lord. And I think that, I just think he's a goofy. And it's like, if these boomers knew about what he said back then, they'd be, they wouldn't like him. But, whatever. Like I say, there's old boomers. They're just old Democratic boomers. I mean, I hate to keep repeating myself, but it's like, that's all they are. They're just cringe folks, Anyway, I think that's all I have to say on this, really. It's just this dude coming out, talking about all this shit, as if everything's going to change. It's like, come on, man, take it easy on that. But yeah, I think that's all I have to say. I hope y'all enjoyed that little stream and my little explanation of this meeting or whatever you want to call it at, Lucy Park. And hope y'all enjoy that. See you later and a goodbye.